Good evening and welcome to Crafting by Moonlight. This evening is a special tutorial. My best friend is having a baby, and this weekend I have decided to throw her a baby shower last minute. So this evening we're going to go ahead and make baby shower invitations, and these are for little girls, and maybe later on in the week I will post one for little boys. This one's just a simple one. It's not as fancy or as crafty as I normally get. It just, unfortunately, it is now Monday, which is Memorial Day, and the baby shower is going to be the following Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. So I'm kind of on a time crunch, and I have a lot of other things I've got to get done. So just real quickly, I wanted to run this through for you guys. I went ahead and stamped the bottom. I really love the stamp because if you look closely, it is a butterfly, but if you look in the middle, there is a fairy, and then there's two fairies on either side. Also, I believe that there's flowers and there's mushrooms. Those are little mushrooms right there. And I thought there was birds in here. Maybe not, but I really love this stamp, and I thought it would be awesome for her baby shower. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quickly. So we're going to be working with cardstock, your handwriting, we're paper punching, and then we're also going to be doing stamps this evening. So let's start with the stamps. We're also doing a trifold, which is a little bit more complicated than normal cards, but I like it because it's kind of nice. It's evolving. So it goes from here to here to here, and you can do great stuff where you have you're invited and then you open it up. Like on my next tutorial, I'll be doing invitations for my daughter's birthday, but this is from one of my birthdays. So I have this, and then it evolves, and it says follow the white rabbit, and then it goes down into the information. So it evolves a little bit, and I like that. So anyways, I like this one as well because it kind of has this little frilly white, and it's kind of hard to see with the light. So it's a little frilly, little girly, which is nice, and it's pink. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. You're going to need pink cardstock. You're going to need white cardstock. Your favorite. So this is our pink cardstock, and we're actually, instead of doing it long ways, what my teacher used to call me the hot dog way, we're going to do it the short way, which, once again, my teacher would tell me it's the hamburger way. You would fold it like a hamburger, and then you'd fold it like a hot dog. And I'll show you how to cut that in a few seconds. The white cardstock you're going to need, and then your favorite paper punch. This happens to be a Martha Stewart, believe it or not, paper punch. And I do like it. I'm not a big Martha Stewart fan, but every once in a while she comes out with something nice. This is one of them. I like this because it's ambidextrous. So whether you're right-handed or left-handed or both, which I happen to be, you can use either side and it goes either way. So while you're punching, it looks like this. The only problem with Martha Stewart's paper craft punchers, the number one problem that we had is that the spring would give out and it would stop working, or the mechanism down in here would stop punching and it wouldn't, the paper would get caught. So that was the number one thing that we had a problem with when I worked at Michael's. Hopefully it's resolved itself. This one I've had for about 5 years now, and it's never given me any problems. So thankfully this is a good one. She does have another one that I'll go into in a different tutorial, and how you could do frames and stuff like that, and I'll explain why I do or don't like it. So anyways, to get started, we need our white paper, our white cardstock paper, and we're also going to need, if you have not invested in one of these already, please, 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 I don't care what brand it is. I use Friskars. That's just the way I am. But it doesn't matter. It could be Recollections. It can be Martha Stewart for all I care. But invest in a paper cutter. if you are doing a lot of paper arts and crafts, even if it's just making strips that are 1 inch thick for something else, get one of these. It is the best investment you will ever invest in, because it's something that will last you a very long time. I think I've had this for about 10 years now. No joke. It's been about 10 years that I've had this. So anyways, to start off with the paper, I'm not going to do the actual cutting. I'm just going to quickly show you. So with this one, since once again we have the Extend-A-Fold, I went ahead and measured it earlier, and it's just shy of 4.5 inches wide. And once again, I told you we were not going to do it the long way this way. We're going to do it the short way this way. So you go to your 1.5 or your 4.5 and maybe make it just a little bit shy of that. Cut it, put this down, cut it, and then cut off the excess for the other side, and you'll get 2 out of this. So we now have 2 of these, and then also we are now going to do our paper punch real quick. And this is the 4th or 5th take of this tutorial. Thankfully, this is the fastest one so far. So once again, one of the reasons why I like this is because Martha Stewart, which I'm sure was not her, but her team, had come up with a really great idea that if you put the same print on the sides where the handles are, you can line it up, and then that way you don't have to blindly punch these out and then it gets messed up. So it's really, really great and handy. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this. And they do kind of get messed up every once in a while. You just got to be extra careful. That's all. And I'm going to go ahead and do a whole line because I need to show you how to cut it and what we're going to do with it afterwards. And since that's going to go right into there, one of the great things about that is that you can almost double punch that last heart. Hopefully that works. Okay, it did work without double punching it and making it look silly. Please always keep an open trash can near you, especially when you're paper crafting. Okay, so now we have this extra line down here. We're going to get rid of that once I get rid of all my scraps. We're going to get rid of it by cutting it. So we're going to take our scissors. We're going to cut there. And we're going to cut right there. I wanted to be careful because I didn't want to cut the heart. So now this is all cut off, and now we have our nice, neat border. And now we're going to go back to our paper cutter. And real quickly, we're going to go ahead and cut this away from the rest of the paper. Especially if you're doing more than one invitation, you want to go ahead and cut that and cut it away so you can reuse this. You want to go ahead and do as small a border on top as you possibly can, but enough to where when you go to glue this, it will you'll have something to glue it to, and you won't be going over your design, which, trying to get it to focus, is actually, oh, there we go, I almost had it. Little dots. It's a heart, and then there's little dots that form a heart above it. See? Right, there we go. All I had to do was shadow it. Look at that. So there we go. Those are the hearts. So you want to give enough space to where it's not crowding those dots. Okay, so now we're not done with our paper cutter. We're going to go ahead and take our paper cutter and we're going to cut off our 2 sides. I like to put my blade down for this. Only because then I can see where I'm cutting. You want to put it on the flat edge only. You don't want to do it on this edge because that would just be silly. Also, it just it'll wind up coming out crooked. And I had done these to measure these. So I cut these papers after I figured out how many of these I wanted. Only because I've done it the opposite way and I've always wound up with extra over or cut off in the middle, and it just doesn't look right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the number does not matter. You could pick your favorite number and deal with it. And do it that way, and that's okay. So there's 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, last time I did the tutorial, it did the same thing. Cut off the 1 extra. Okay, so now we have 2 of those. And we're actually done with our paper cutter. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this first before I fold it. This is a acrylic stamping block. It's clear because usually these are clear. This one has been used one too many times with the gold pigment ink, just like this one. And this is how they actually normally look. I'm going to put that down on the paper. So as you can see, this looks black here, but that's because it shows you what it's going to look like after it has ink on it. So you peel it off. And then that's what it looks like. It's completely clear. This one I have yet to use, so that's why it's so nice and brand new. This the butterfly I've used one too many times, and I've used it with the gold ink. But we're gonna go ahead and try to make this work. I like this butterfly because it's got a couple of fairies on it, and some flowers and some mushrooms, very woodsy type. So once again, we're gonna rock. We're gonna rock back, rock forward, rock side to side, very gently, but also very firmly. This ink pad I've had for about 5 years now, and it's lasted a long time, but it's starting to get a little weathered, so it's kind of hard. It's Ranger is the name of the company. I'm going to put this straight down. The problem that I have with these is that I can never get all the ink off. These are very finicky sometimes, and it's okay when you have when you go to re-ink it. The only problem is that sometimes you can't see very well. So before I lift it completely off, see, I didn't get that one spot right there. Right here. And I hope I get it this time, because I really do not want to have to re-ink. Yep, I missed the whole middle. This is the hard part, because once you re-ink that, you can't really see where you're putting, where it's lining up, and this is how it gets smudged. So hopefully I did not ink that in the wrong spot. If I did, just gonna have to try again. Yep, and I double inked. So since this is a bus and a wash, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean that off. So what you're going to do after you've successfully inked is you're going to fold right above that butterfly, and you're going to try to make this area as small. You're going to bring this edge up, but only, and leave about an inch to an inch and a half, 2 inches of space and crease. So you could see the line right there. You want to go ahead and leave about an inch and a half, 2 inches. That's fine. In another tutorial where I do my daughter's invitations, I leave a larger one only because we're going to stamp on the inside. This one, since we're using this wonderful border, I don't want to have it fold over too much, because I want to have that border, the pink, shine through that border. So then we're going to fold that flap over as close to this inside flap as possible. And we're going to flatten it out even more. We're going to take our tape runner, and we're going to mark here on the lace, for lack of a better term. You're going to try to stay away from the dots. I didn't, but that's okay. Sometimes you get ink on the or tape on the table. Just go ahead and wipe that off. So then afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to bring my invitation flap, that little one, to my paper, to my lace. That way it doesn't get messed up. I have control over it. Once it's done, I'm going to go ahead and flatten it out. And then I press down real hard. And there you go. We have our lace invitations. You can go ahead and put "You're invited." You could put a stamp on the top. You can do whatever you'd like on the inside. You can even put a stamp up here like a monogram, a stamp here. Your creativity is what makes this special. You can also use these for Valentine's Day cards for someone special. One of the things that I had to deal with at Michael's is that a lot of people came in and they were upset because they felt like they didn't have any creativity. And that's not true. Everyone's creative in their own way. I used to draw, and now I only do paper crafts. The only time I ever draw is when I'm actually drawing the interior of a building instead of any drawings that I used to do. So don't follow my directions specifically. Use this as a guide to help you get started, and then go from there. If you don't like this one, and you don't like the Martha Stewart one, and you found a Recollections one that's fantastic, use that. You know, you could even get creative and use part of this punch to create a whole new border. Or, you know, they even have border scissors at Michael's that you could even use yourself. So get creative, learn to explore, learn to fail. As you can see, when I do invitations, I always plan for at least 5 to 10 extra ones, because things like this happen, especially if I'm dealing with stamps and cutouts. So get creative. Don't worry about failing, because in the end, even if you've done it 100 times, it'll still wind up being beautiful once it's perfect the way you like it. As always, if you liked it, please like and subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And my name is Alice, and thanks for joining us at Crafting by Moonlight. See you next time.